Hello, hi. I was almost late. I don't like being late. I don't like late. I don't. Welcome to Locs Talk Live. I'm Pammy. So I'm going to give people time to get in for this one because I noticed that I rush. I'm too hasty with getting started, and I don't want to do that today. Right. So I'm going to give people time to get in. Right. Well, does MJ say, "Get in here, get in here, get in here, get in here"? I love when he does that. So as you come in, please, if you've been liking the content that I have been providing thus far, um, with all of the Locs Talk lives and the education that I've been providing to you, please hit that thumbs up when you get in, get in, get in, get in, get in. Um, in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to set up some other stuff here because there are some, you know, pictures that I do want to, share with my screen share for part of this conversation. So while I'm bringing that up, I ask that you just come on in, hit that like button and everything. Welcome to Locs Talk Live. I'm your girl, Pammy. Hi. Just give me a second, pulling up some files here to make sure that we cover the stuffs because the stuff needs to be covered. You know what I'm saying? I hope it's still in here. I hope I did not erase it because I'm going to be so mad at myself if I did. So mad at myself. Sometimes, like when I pull up some stuff just as an illustration, I forget. You know what? No, I don't even need to do this. I'll bring it up from the thing over here. All right, so I am going to put this up here to welcome everybody to Locs Talk Live. Oh, I got to sneeze. I'm so sorry. And for those of you, if you said bless you, thank you. I appreciate you. um, so I'm just going to pull up my blog off of my website. A lot of my Locs Talks is based on a blog that I put on my website. If you haven't gone through or seen my website, I put up all the replays of my Locs Talk Live is on there. And I also have written out blogs also. So again, it's based on the blogs that I put on here. I haven't written one in a while, but I'm definitely going to get back into writing more blogs on my website. But there's a lot of really great written ones here. So I'm just pulling up the one that I need to refer to. And once I do that, then I'm going to get started. But in the meantime, in between time, come on in. Once you enter in, say hello in the chat box so that I can see who's here because that's the only way I know who's in the space, in the room, in the place, right? Um, and we're going to talk about some good stuff. Okay, I found it. So I'm going to open it. So when I do talk about some of the different things here, I do have, like I said, this illustration here that I want to refer to because, child, and one other thing I'm going to open up, and then I'll get started. And I just like to be very prepared. Unfortunately, I had a hard time falling asleep last night. I didn't go to sleep until like 5 o'clock this morning. So, I had to take me one of those little old lady naps that I like to take. I try to stop taking a lot of those simply because, I just don't want to get myself caught up with, um, I don't want to get myself caught up with, what am I trying to say? No, I don't want to do that. knock it off my sleep schedule. So I try not to do too much naps, midday naps anymore. No, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Okay, I will be right with you. I finally got to the space where I wanted to get to. Download this one. I'm going to download this one. Make it very easy. Um, I have one last one that I'm going to download, and then we can start this conversation. Because you're going to be like, oh my God, what the hell happened to that person's hair? No, you're not. At least I don't think so. What happened to it? I just saw it yesterday when I was preparing all of the information. Hmm. Oh, here it is. Download here. Okay. So we can close all of these. We can close all of these. Hi, I'm back. Okay, so it's still just one person here, but everybody else will join as we progress, right? I think 7.5 minutes is enough time to get to the place. Let me shine my lips up a little bit because they're a little dry. Hey, I'm live. So, once again, hi. Welcome to Locs Talk Live. My name is Pamela, affectionately known to my lock and loose natural hair community as Pammy. I've been known as Pammy my whole life, honestly, but I have embraced the use of my nickname, my childhood nickname, in my adulthood because it's my favorite of a number of childhood nicknames. Anywho, moving forward, I am a loctician, organic loose natural hair care specialist or hair care provider, and a lockologist. Simply put, I start and maintain locks for my lock clients, and I am also a support system for them because a lot of the struggles that many of them deal with, including the AKA ugly phase, which I do not refer to. I really mimic them saying so. Support them through the difficulties and the different stages and phrases and phases of your lock journey, which is very important. So it's more to it than just you coming here and getting your hair retwisted and going about your business and then I see you next month type thing. It's really an ongoing relationship. It's important to maintain a working relationship with the person that's handling your hair. You got to remember your hair is at your crown chakra, right? You don't want anybody handling that part of your being, but with the exchange of touch, because the crown chakra is very powerful. The most powerful of your chakras is your crown and root chakra. So be careful who puts their hands in your hair, especially if there's bad energy between you and the person that's handling your hair. I don't care if what they're doing to your hair. If there's bad energy, don't let people touch your hair because that energy will be transferred to you, right? This is generally what leads to people not wanting to be confrontational at the moment or in the moment with that person, but then later on, I'm sure you've seen plenty of TikToks, YouTubes, Reels on Instagram and Facebook of people telling you about their nightmare experience with the stylist that they just left and paid money to and tipped and everything and said nothing to. But now they have everything to say to you in the privacy of their car on their phone, right behind the screen of social media. And it happens. I get it. I understand. it got to the place where people are more comfortable with embarrassing a person than having a conversation to resolve an issue. And that goes both ways. And I'm not here to take up for stylists who are out here wilding. Like, what are you doing? Um, but it is what it is. That's why I always tell people, be an advocate. You can speak up for yourself without it becoming confrontational. It's just a matter of learning how to be effective with communicating in a way that you can be heard without it escalating somewhere else. Now, some people do lack the emotional intelligence to deal with and handle with proper or professional customer service, but that's the person you don't want to return to, and it's certainly not the person you should be paying and tipping and then complaining about later. You know, many people are independent, so there's no corporate to complain to. So speak up for yourself without all the extra. You ain't got to get all street, but speak up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Second one, organic loose natural hair care provider. Generally, organic loose natural hair care provider, I take care of your hair within its natural state. I do not change or alter the texture of your hair. Whatever the texture of your hair is as it grows out of your head, I maintain it in that way. Right? I don't use high chemical treatment, relaxers, bleaching, or any of those things, or high intensive heat. And finally, lockologist. I study the origins and the continued evolution of locks. Okay, something that I stay on top of and I observe. That's how I learn as much as I can about locks. And my education with natural hair versus locks is what gives me everything that locks in together to be the lock care provider that I am to my clients. So, as I was stating earlier, Locs Talk is based on the blogs that I do post on my website. But evolution came and I decided I was going to talk on the camera with you. Now, this was a real challenge to go from writing a blog, right, behind the safety of my keyboard, to actually sitting here in front of a camera and talking to you, fine people. The reason for that is because, like I said, I have nervousness and anxiety and stuff like that. I've grown more and more comfortable with doing it because I just see myself looking at myself. So I practiced in the mirror. I said, okay, if I have a camera, all I see looking back at me is me. Although I know there are people out there, hello people, that see and hear me, but I don't feel judgment or things. I still feel like I'm in a safe place. So here I am. So if you want to browse my website, this is it here, www.pammylockswithlove74.com. I know that's a long ass name, right? You can also find it in the link tree that's in my banner on my page here on YouTube. And it also has all of my other social media platforms and things like that if you want to hit those up as well. So again, I want to remind you, please hit that thumbs up as you enter. If you like the education and content I've been providing for you, I hope that the education and content that I've been providing has been helping to improve the journeys that you all have been having with whether you have locks or natural hair. This particular conversation I'm having tonight is about all hair. I don't care how your hair is. And that includes if your hair is relaxed or anything that's going on with the hair on top of your head. This particular Locs Talk live will cover that for everybody because this is something that affects anybody with hair on their head, right? Anybody with hair on their head. So I see there's a couple of people in here. So just say hi in the comments so that I know that you're here and who you are and I can say hello back to you. Okay? So tonight's conversation is about bleach and heat damage. All right? Bleach and heat damage. Now, a lot of times when I have educational talks about things such as bleach and heat damage, It is not with the intention to scare you or to discourage you or to tell you don't do it. All of that is up to you. With that being said, let me be clear. I am not suggesting that you do not use heat or bleach on your loose natural hair or locks. That is totally 100% your choice to make. I'm just simply here to educate only. And the reason why I wanted to make that clear is because while my platform and what I represent and what I do does not include using bleach and high heat, and the reasons for that, some of the reasons for that is going to be discussed in this conversation, does not mean that I have a judgment towards anybody who chooses to use high heat or to bleach their hair. Okay? You can do that, but proceed with caution. This is to provide you with information so you do not suffer from what can happen. You can be preventive and very careful and tread lightly. You know how when people say we're drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and people are like, well, how the hell can you drink responsibly? Please explain that to me, because alcohol is just bad. You shouldn't drink at all. That's a decision that that person made for themselves. Maybe they can't drink responsibly or put the glass down after one or two drinks and that's it. So I understand that. And I feel the same way when it comes down to this. If a person is not abusing it and they are keeping up with maintenance and doing all of the things that needs to be done to make sure that the hair don't completely fall out their head and have to get cut off, they can. But they can't do that if they don't have the warnings and understanding of the severity of the damages that can occur, right? So, that's why I said negligence of use with caution and care can lead to irreversible damage. So that's why I'm providing you with the education of what can happen. This is why education is so very important. Okay? So let's move into it. Bleaching. What is bleaching? In the comments, you can tell me what you believe bleaching is. And as you put that there, I'm going to give you the definition of what bleaching is. Now, a lot of the information I'm going to provide here is really in layman's terms. I can't, for legalities and legal reasons, I can't put too much information in there. Like a lot of the information that I learned from beauty school, I can't do that. It's against the law, but I can give you, broad, open answers that anybody can look up themselves. But like really deep information, I can't provide that for you. You got to pay to go to beauty school if you want to know all of that extra stuff, right? So bleaching. Bleaching is a chemical process that involves stripping the pigment and or color from hair strands, resulting in lighter color. This is a permanent and irreversible process. The reason why I made sure I put that in there is because a lot of times people say, well, you can just always dye the hair back. That is not a reversal. That's like a cover up. Think about it like you get a tattoo, right? And you don't like it. That's also permanent and irreversible. The only thing you can do to change it is to have it removed with a laser, which is going to leave a scar. So you're never going to go back to what your virgin skin looked like, or you do a cover up, right? And sometimes the cover up still doesn't cover the original one unless you're using a lot of really dark and concentrated colors, right? So permanent and irreversible it is. When you bleach your hair and you strip your hair of the color or pigmentation that was naturally yours when you were born, you can't put it back. You may be able to cover it up with dye, but you can't put back your natural pigmentation. It's not the same. Okay? So that's what bleaching is. It's a chemical process. Keyword, emphasis on the word chemical. Something I don't work with. That's why I don't bleach hair. That's one reasons. Okay? One of the most serious dangers of bleaching is the hair's loss of keratin. That's number 2 reason why I don't bleach hair, which is one of the group of fibrous protein, also known as scleroproteins. Now, what that means is the keratin of your hair, the protein, which are the bonds that make your hair, generally spoken, keratin is the DNA of your hair. It's what makes your hair your hair. Your hair cannot exist without it. It is the foundation. Without a strong foundation, which is the keratin, the house is like toothpicks and it could crumble at any time, like a house of cards on a bed of sand without keratin. All right? So, again, without keratin, the hair is compromised, making it dry, brittle, hard, and hard to style. So, a lot of times people will say, you hear them saying, well, if you bleach your hair, it'll leave your hair feeling really dry and brittle. But they don't say why. I want to be very clear why your hair feels dry and brittle and it's hard to style. It is because it lacks the keratin or the protein bonds that bond your hair together, right? And it's just like broken pieces of hair, literally, as if you glued it together, right? So that is what that is. So we're going to start talking about some of the side effects of bleaching hair. These side effects adds to the list of reasons why I, in my services, do not bleach hair. Okay, I do some hair coloring, but most of it is organic, right? But bleaching, it does not include bleaching. So, number 1, bleaching harms the scalp. So depending on your pain tolerance and your skin sensitivity, it can harm your scalp badly, right? It can cause allergies, chemical burns, or even worse, both simultaneously, right? So it's really bad. If you have it on your scalp and you start feeling burning sensation and itching, generally spoken, one of those 2 things are happening or both are happening, and you need to rinse it out, because if you let it sit there and it gets worse and the pain gets worse, chances are you don't did some damage to your scalp, to your skin, right? And I don't know if you've seen, sometime I saw a video of a young lady some time back, right? Very sad. She had relaxed her hair. Now, I don't know who told her it was a good idea to relax her hair, and immediately after she bleached her hair. And the scars and the chemical burns that it caused to her scalp, it broke my heart. It really did. I'm not that person to be like, oh, you're so stupid. Because she would say, well, I went online and the girl said it was okay. And again, this is why I said, even though I'm on here educating you, nothing I'm telling you are things that you can't go and look up yourself and see for yourself. I make sure that I don't violate any legalities when it comes to the education that I provide, making people think that this is all the information they need and they don't need to go to beauty school. Yeah, you do. Let's just leave it at, yes, you do. I'm not providing you with a lot of the legal information that you need in order to be licensed. So, and I can't, because it's not legal for me to do so. But I can provide you with general information about your hair so that you don't screw your shit up. We don't want to do that, right? So if you start feeling burning and tingling and stuff like that, and a lot of times, especially melanated people, we do have a higher tolerance to pain, but we can still feel damn pain, right? But by the time it really starts to bother us, some severe stuff or some major stuff has happened, and it's probably at a point of no return, right? So be very careful with that, okay? Now, the next thing that can happen, right, is number 2. Bleach leaves the hair extremely dry. Remember what I said about the keratin? The extreme dryness is caused by oxidation, right? Which can also cause extreme stress on the scalp. So oxidation is what breaks down the bonds and or keratin and protein that's in your hair, and it breaks it down. That's the oxidation does that. But it also does it to your scalp as well, causing the scalp to become extremely stressed, right? So moving forward, this is the third thing that bleaching can cause. Bleaching causes oxidative stress on your scalp. What happens with oxidative stress weakens the grip your scalp should have to hold your hair in place, causing rapid shedding or hair loss. So, what does that mean? I don't know if you've seen the movie What's Love, about Tina Turner, and it was a time where they were on tour, and she and the girls in the group, they went to the beauty salon to get their hair done, and she was getting her hair bleached blonde, and the chemical was left in her hair for too long. So she's just sitting there having and laughing it up and talking it up with her girls. And the young girl goes over there to start rinsing it out, and clumps of her hair, like she was hardly doing anything and it was just falling straight out her head. That's oxidative stress. That means the hair follicles just became weak and limp and let go of the hair. Generally, what happens with a person who has alopecia areata, and that's why the hair falls out in circles, is because the follicles just kind of go limp and loses their grip, and the hair just releases and falls out. So that's what the oxidative stress is on your scalp. So again, if you feel that tingling and burning, rinse that out. Get it out, get it out, get it out, because that's probably what's going on up there also. Okay. And also yesterday I came across a video, the famous colorist. She was explaining to a young lady, she was doing a strand test on her. And while she was sitting there, the foil became super hot. So another thing people don't understand is this is not part of the causes or whatever, but I want to share this while it's in my head because it just popped in my head. Said to mention it. If you are going to get your hair bleached, it's important, number 1, to do a full consultation with the person that's bleaching your hair. And number 2, they need to do a strand test because they need to see how well your hair will be able to handle a bleaching process. Again, for some, the keratin proteins break down instantaneously because your hair is already very weak. And for others, it takes a lot more. Now, here's what you don't want to do. When you do go in, even if it's just to get a strand test, you need to come in with clean and dry hair. The video that I saw with this famous colorist, the person that came in, she came in, her hair was dry, but she hadn't washed it. She had went swimming the day before, and so therefore she had chlorine still in her hair. That's why it's important. And that's why when we went over the summertime stuff, it's very important to make sure you wash chlorine out of your hair after you've gone swimming. She still had the chlorine in her hair. She did not mention it to this colorist. So when she did the strand test, the colorist put the bleach on the strand, wrapped it with the foil. And what happened was the chemical combination of the foil, the bleach, and the chlorine caused the foil to heat up rapidly, like hot, very hot, to the point where the colorist touched and she was like, oh my God, why is it so hot? Now they ask these questions. And that's when it came out that the person had gone swimming the day before and did not thoroughly wash the chlorine out of her hair before coming in to do the bleaching. And unfortunately, the customer was like, you're going to have to wash your hair, but I can't do your color today because your bleach today because after washing your hair and stuff and then doing the strand test, I won't have the time to bleach your hair and you will have to make a new appointment. Of course, the client was disappointed. But this is why, again, um, it's important to make sure that whoever is the person handling your hair and bleaching your hair, they do a thorough consultation, ask all of the right questions, and make sure that they prepare you properly before coloring your hair or bleaching your hair, right? So, with that side note being done, I'm getting back into this. So, number 4, and this one I'm going to also share my screen so I can show you an illustration of what can happen to your hair because it's terrible. You can end up with discolored hair, right? There's no guarantee your hair will live properly and may become severely discolored, leaving it in horrible and undesirable shades. I've seen people hair, like my hair, you see my hair is like a dark off black, well it's graying now, but it's like my natural hair is a dark off black, but there's different shades to your hair that it has to go through. It goes from black to brown to red to orange to yellow, then to blonde, and then finally platinum. So it's a different numbers of levels that goes up to that, right? But it doesn't just go from black to blonde. And sometimes if you have a color hair that's too dark, it may not even lift past a certain color. Like some people, they can't lift past orange. Some people can't lift past yellow. Sometimes the hair just does not respond well at all, and it winds up this horrible greenish yellow color. And oh, so I'm going to share my screen just to give you an understanding of what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. Give me a second. Here we go. Got that. Got that. I'll open this all the way up real quick. Nope. Sorry. Sorry. My bad. I hit the wrong thing. Okay. Go here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Y'all can still see me, right? I hope so. Free share screen. Right. Window. Okay. Share. Okay. Here we go. Sorry. So this particular picture here is an illustration of a bleaching gone bad. You see how the color lifted poorly in some areas of the hair, like this patch right here. You can see like the black beneath that, and then different shades of yellows, and then it's really orange right here. It's still like a brown down here. and then along the front and then the top is over processed, is almost platinum. So she has like so many different shades of bleach on her hair. Now this is somebody else's picture, so I'm going to shut that down. Right, and stop sharing. So that's an illustration of how the color in your hair can change. I do apologize about my picture going out for a second there. I accidentally turned off my webcam thinking that I was coming back to this when I was sharing the screen. So number 5, hair becomes prone to other damage. Damages such as heat and sun damage, brittleness, breakage, permanent hair loss, styling tension, and can be too stressful and pulling the hair right out of the scalp. So, like, what I mean by styling tension, like when you're styling your hair with braids or pulling it back in slick ponytails and stuff like that, that's tension that's pulling that. Remember, our hair is naturally curly. Melanated people, our hair is naturally curly. So, in order to get a slick ponytail, that means you have to pull and stretch the hair in order for it to be straight, right? Outside of chemically treating it to straighten it, the other alternative is to literally, pull with tension in order to make it slick down and be straight, right? So your hair becomes more prone to other damages due to the oxidative stress and scalp oxidation stress and loss of keratin and protein in the hair that breaks down the bonds that makes the hair feel very brittle and straw-like. Okay. Number 6, bleaching is very high maintenance and expensive aftercare. Okay, both in currency and time. Bleached hair is weak and prone to damages, so it requires a lot of maintenance to keep it up. Number 1, if you want to keep it bleached, you got to keep going back every few weeks to get a touch up to make sure that that's done, and making sure that it doesn't overlap with already bleached and processed hair, because then that's just going to break it down even worse. Um, the ah the porosity of your hair changes significantly when your hair is bleached, because the cuticles become severely damaged as well. And therefore, a lot more moisture is needed in order to maintain. That's why a lot of people with bleached hair, blonde hair that's been bleached, has to do deep conditioners and stuff like that. And again, there's not very many conditioners out there that doesn't contain silicone. After a while of using it, silicone is incredibly hard to remove and wash out of your hair. It creates this like saran wrap barrier, so moisture really can't get in there. So even though you're doing this conditioning on the outside, feeling it, yeah, it feels lovely, but inside your hair is suffering because it's suffocating, because the moisture couldn't get past the barrier, and therefore your hair is still dry and brittle and shriveling up underneath there. But on top, it feels great because you're not feeling the hair, you're feeling the conditioner that has this light coating that's on top of your hair. So don't be fooled, right? Negligence of aftercare in this smallest capacity will resolve with permanent damages. It will reverse everything that you did to maintain and keep up your bleached hair. So, for example, if you have bleached hair and you have to do all these different things, keeping the moisture up and all of that stuff to maintain, keep your hair up, or go several times over a period of, keep going repeatedly for keratin treatments, protein treatments, and all of these things. Now, what happens if you suddenly get sick? You can't go. What happens if you suddenly lose your job and you can't go because you can't afford it? Different things can change in your life. Life be life in your own. And that will cause a significant change where you are unable to. But in my experience, when I was talking to clients, is because time management for them was difficult for them to be able to keep up with the maintenance of maintaining their bleached hair. And it's only when they start seeing the effects and damages of negligence will they start, oh, I got to get this done. And the thing is, when it comes, bleached hair is not very forgiving when it's neglected. No. Bleached hair requires your full attention. Bleached hair is like that clingy girlfriend and or boyfriend that demands all your time and attention. That's what it does. And if you are not willing to give up a lot of time and maintenance and attention, because high maintenance is what it is. You ask a fella with a girlfriend who's high maintenance, he will tell you she requires all his time, his money, his energy, everything. That's what high maintenance is. It's not a person who requires gifts, 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 gifts. They require everything: time, money, everything. Okay, and it's the same thing with bleach hair. It is like a high maintenance girlfriend or boyfriend, very clingy, requiring all of your time, maintenance, money, all of those things in order to keep it up. Because you don't keep it up, that's going to be your failed relationship with your bleached hair. So be ready for all of that. This is to provide you, again, this is not to discourage you. If this is something you can handle, go for it. Do your thing. All right? But proceed with caution and tread lightly. Okay, here's another note. Note, bleach damage is irreversible. Okay? Many believe keratin treatments can reverse bleach damage. Let me assure you, it does not. Okay? It can slow down damages, but does not replace your natural keratin. Reread that. I'll leave it up there for a minute. Keratin treatments is one of the many things that you need to do to maintain your bleached hair. However, it does not replace your natural keratin. Okay? It is synthetic and man-made and expensive as hell. You do not want to get cheap keratin treatments because you will get what you pay for, right? It slows down the process, but the minute you skip and neglect, again, bleached hair is not very forgiving. You have to give her or him all your time, money, maintenance, and attention to keep it going and looking great and fabulous. And if you're not capable of doing that, then leave the bleach alone. Okay? If you ain't got the bills, then leave it alone. If you ain't got the time, then leave it alone. Because all of those things are going to be required to make sure that your hair don't start looking crazy. If you went from having beautiful, curly, luscious hair to it just looking like cotton sitting on top of your head, that's damage. And it ain't cute. I'm not judging. It's a simple fact. It ain't cute. Okay? If there's any further questions about bleach, put them in the comments because I'm moving into the second portion of this conversation about heat damage. Right? Heat. What causes heat damage? Good question, right? Heat damage is caused by the UV rays from the sun, extremely hot water. That's why I said when you're washing your hair, the water should not be scalding hot, right? Heat styling instruments such as curling irons, hair dryers, hooded dryers, flat irons at high temperatures and are used way too frequently. Now, that's the combination. I'm not saying don't use curlers, flat irons, and all of that. Again, don't put words in my mouth. I'm not saying don't use it, but use with caution. Proceed with caution. This is providing you information so you can avoid the damages that it can cause when it's abused. Same way when it's, like I said, they say drink responsibly, and people be like, how do you drink responsibly? 2 glasses of wine is drinking responsibly. Drinking 3 bottles is not. Now you're falling down drunk, right? And people be like, well, I could drink a little more. I'm a heavy-handed, Good for you. However, If you drink it to the point where you're stumbling and you can't think, overdone. Now we're talking about accidents that can happen and things like that, right? No. That's why there's a legal limit when it comes to drinking. And in this case, not a legal limit, but there is a limit to how often you should be using heating tools before you cross over the threshold and cause significant damage to your hair. And I speak from experience because I've done it to myself. Being stupid again. Because for me, I was still subscribed to what the beauty standard was, and I did any and everything to maintain and stick to that. If you see pictures of me in the past, again, I did things that I no longer do now, and that's something that I choose for me. I'm not saying that that's what you should do, but that's just what I choose to do for me. Um, so yeah, those are the things that can cause heat damage. Now let's move further in it. Now, some will say you can use heat protection products to avoid the damages that heating tools can cause. Keep in mind, it may delay the effects of heat damages, but using heat protectant doesn't completely prevent heat damage. It doesn't. Okay? It's still, you have to be very cautious about how often you're using high heat tools in your hair. Okay? You gotta kind of fluctuate between how you use these things. Because the one time that I did cause significant heat damage and I had to cut off all of the damaged hair, I started alternating and I still was using the heating tools like the flat irons and stuff, but I wasn't doing it as often, right? Now, also talking about heat protectant products. Also, you have to be careful using heat protectant products too often because it contains ingredients like panthenol and propylene glycol, right? Those are two ingredients that are well known to be in heat protectant products. And those can cause other health issues with you because it can get into your bloodstream and stuff like that. So be careful. Don't think because they made that's there to help, to aid, to slow down the process, but it's not to completely prevent. And it comes down to like anything that's supposed to help, like let's use birth control for example. Now, condoms, 97%. This is a 3% chance that you could still get pregnant even if you're using the condom, right? So it's like a heightened percentage of protection, but it's not 100. Heat protectant is a high percentage of protection from heat damage, but it's not 100. See what I did there? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, like bleaching, extreme heat also causes significant damage to the hair's keratin. But in this case, it alters the keratin, leaving the hair looking stringy and frail with loss of curl pattern and texture. Now I'm going to share my screen again to give you a visual of what that looks like. Okay. Go to the window. Okay. And I'm just going to move it over. Okay. So you see this? This is natural hair. This curl pattern up here is with natural keratin that has not been altered. But over time, as heat is applied to the hair, what happens is it becomes very stringy and frail. And you see how very translucent and open. Breakage, 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 stringy. This kind of looks like how hair looks when generally, when somebody's growing out their relaxed hair and the ends is still relaxed, so they look stringy like this, but their roots look like this. This is natural hair. This whole piece is natural hair. This down here is hair that's been heat damaged because the keratin has been altered. Okay? So, what do I mean by the keratin has been altered? What happens is the keratin A is what maintains and holds onto your beautiful coily curl pattern. That is altered and turned over to become keratin B, which makes the hair less curly and coily and just frail and straw-like and stringy and breaking. That's the difference. That's the kind of damage heat does to the keratin of your hair. So it does not destroy it like bleach does, but it alters it, causing the hair to become severely and significantly damaged and looking like what I just showed you in that illustration. That didn't look pretty, did it? Okay. Exposure to high heat also affects the hair's ability to hold moisture. So oftentimes people would say, yeah, I try to put moisturizer in my hair and it just seems like it's just not doing it. Sometimes if there's you've been using heat on your hair a lot. I've seen people that used to go, I forget what they called it. Oh my goodness. But it was a thing that people used to go do to their hair. I'm at a loss of terminology here. I forget what it's called, but it's a treatment where you get a wash and condition, and then it's blown out and silk pressed, but it's a certain kind of shampoo and conditioner that they use so that that silk press lasts a much longer time. And then when you put moisture in it, your curl doesn't snap back quickly because it's not pulling that moisture in. And when that happens, it's because the heat damage started. It may not have crossed over to the point of no return where it can still be repaired, but it's started when it starts not taking in the moisture and popping your curls right back into place when you want to go from being straight back to your natural hair. So those are signs, those are telltale signs when you go to moisturize your hair so you can get your nice curl and it's just doing this little fragile, whatever thing with it, and it's not curling back up. That's because it's not absorbing the moisture to do that. And that's your sign that maybe heat has started to damage your hair. Okay? So here's the thing. Regulated use of high heat also dehydrates the hair, leaving it stiff and hollow like straw. High set hooded dryers and handheld blow dryers are notorious for dehydrating hair. Now, this is why I advocated and fought for myself every time when I used to go to the salon, specifically because I used to like get my headset, my roller sets always was the best when I went to the Dominican salons. But there were certain things that they do to hair that I don't like and don't want them to do to my hair. So I made sure I spoke up. Whatever you're putting in that bowl when you go in the back of the room, I don't want that shit in my hair. I always brought my own shampoo and conditioner with me. I don't want my dryer set to super high where you have to put the little plastic ear muffs on my ear to keep my ears from burning and singeing off my head. Turn down my dryer. If I have to sit under it longer, then I'll sit under it longer. But I don't want my hair dryer, my hooded dryer to be set to super high because that's going to dry the shit out of my hair. I don't want that. Then when they took the rollers out, I was like, just brush and wrap it and put the pins in it because I wasn't planning on going nowhere immediately. I didn't need them to blow out my hair. She would take the rollers out and then she wanted to get the hair dryer, set it to the highest setting, and then do the thing with the no, I didn't want that. So she was like, well, if you don't want, why you do? Because I want a simple wash and set. That's it. Right? So don't put none of that other stuff in there. If you can't handle my hair, then say you can't handle my hair. But I don't want bone straight hair to the point where you had to char my hair with extreme heat in order to get it straight, because that's not what it takes to get my hair to be straight. If you look at my hair texture at a 3B, 3C, I did not need all of that for my hair to be straight. Once my hair was wrapped and I went home and went about my business, when I combed my hair down, it felt beautifully, had a nice body. I didn't want my hair just limp and dead and hanging straight. I liked the body in my hair, right? So again, this is why it's important to speak up for yourself. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a hand dryer and a hooded dryer, but when I use them on my clients, especially a lot of clients that need to sit under it for whatever reason, I do not have that thing set to no high heat. So, like, if they require something, I'm going to let them know you're going to be under the dryer for a little bit because I don't set it too high. I'm not trying to dehydrate your hair. If you think about this, what are grapes? Fruit that grow on the vine, nice and plump and juicy, right? You bite into a grape and you just get this burst of delicious fruit juice from the grape that just in your mouth, right? When you dehydrate a grape, it becomes a raisin. Now, no matter how long I put that raisin and soak it in water, whether it's cold water or hot water, it will never be the grape that it used to be again. So avoiding that from happening to your hair, dehydration, high heat is not on my menu. That's a primary reason why I don't use intense high heat on my client's hair. Because I'm not trying to dehydrate your shit. But no matter how much you moisturize, again, heat damaged hair does not absorb moisture. You know, like a full grape would take in more moisture if you cut it in half and soak it in water than a raisin would if you cut that in half and soak it in water. You would still get more water absorbed in that grape that's already full and open than you would in the raisin that has been dehydrated. That's how that works. So do not overuse high intensive heat, and protect your hair from the heat when you go out in the sun, because that can be very harmful as well. Okay. Moving on. If you have any questions, please put it in here. Okay. Now, the question is, what would cause the keratin to change and alter, right? Temperatures, 300 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, used on a regular basis, is what alters the keratin from A to B, right? Removing curl texture and loss of elasticity, leaving the hair looking very frail and stringy, as I showed you in the illustration when I shared the screen, right? That little straight part that was frail and weird looking, that is heat damaged hair. And even when your hair, like when you wash your hair and it's wet and you see up by your roots is nice and curly and full, and then you get to the end, you got the little stringy things, that's heat damaged hair. And that's permanent damage. Nothing can be done to fix that. Right? So, heating tools that are notorious for converting keratin A to keratin B at high temperatures include curling irons, flat irons, straightening combs, used on a regular basis. So these are the hot tools. So when you see somebody use a high blow dryer set to high, right? Then they go come back around, they spin the block, and even with the protectors, they come in, down, they flat iron it, right? Then one more layer. Now they come back in to curl it, right? And if it's too many flyaways going on around in the edges, what they do, they come out with the hot comb. First they put the wax stick, right? And then the hot comb so that everything lays down. All of that heat, right? And it might last a little while, but try and do that in the summertime when it's hot and you sweating. All that work you did, it may not absorb in your hair, but it's still going to make your hair frizzy. And now what? You want to straighten it again, right? I've had clients come here to get their hair done. They wanted to put a protective style in, and the last time their hair was done, they had gotten their hair blown out and silk pressed. So they didn't prepare the hair for the, protective style they wanted me to put in. And the minute that I sprayed a moisturizer on it, you could smell the difference from, you ever had that cooked hair smell? And when moisture hits it and it kind of smells like burnt or baked hair. I was like, yeah, you have like the scent from when you got your hair pressed when I put this in. So I think it might be a good idea. We wash your hair. Okay. I don't have a problem washing your hair. I'm not the person that says come washed and ready with your hair blown out. I'll wash your hair. That's part of my services. So yeah. So here are other damages heat can cause: dryness, dullness, split ends, breakage, flyaways, rough and altered textures, increased tingling, faded hair. This includes your natural color. Your hair can be faded, right? So be very careful. Um, how do you avoid heat damage? I'll tell you how. Let's move into it. Number one, lower the temperature to low settings when drying your hair to avoid dehydration. Like I said, I do have a sit under hooded dryer. I do have a handheld dryer. However, I do not set it too extremely hot or high. Okay. When possible, do a wash and go and allow your hair to air dry. When possible. I'm not saying do it all the time. This was when I said when I was silk pressing my hair and flat ironing or whatever. And once my hair became damaged and I had to cut off the heat damage, I made sure I altered back and forth. So I'll wash my hair and then I'll do my moisturizing treatment and just let my natural curls do its thing. And right? I'll do that twice and maybe once after 2 times natural, and then I'll straighten it. And then it started to decrease even more. I only straightened it when I wanted to wear it straight for a special occasion or something like that when I'm getting dressed up. Because I still wasn't comfortable wearing my natural hair when I went to special events and stuff like that. So I would still straighten my hair for those, right? When I dried my hair, I knew it took me longer to set my hair dryer to low, but I did that. And my hair stayed healthier, and I was able to maintain and keep moisture in my hair for longer periods of time because of that. So lower the temperature to a low setting instead, and make sure you invest the time that you dries like it needs to, right? 2, decrease how often you use high heat to straighten your hair. As I said, I alternated between natural curly texture with moisture set and go and protective styling. So what I would do also, I put braids in my hair every now and then. So I didn't have to do shit to my hair for a while, right? And then after I took it out and let it rest, it was natural again, curly texture. And then if I had somewhere to go, it got straightened again, right? Number 3, moisturize your hair often. Moisturized hair is less prone to heat damage caused by the sun. Okay? Dry hair is even more prone to heat damage from all heat damaging agents, sun, dryer, heating tools, and so on and so forth. So your hair, if it's dry and it ain't got nothing on it, then it's more prone to become damaged by heating tools and even going outside in the sun. Make sure you moisturize your hair on a regular basis, whether it is a leave-in conditioning lotion or spray like I use on my locks. Because if I put a conditioning lotion, that shit is going to burrow down and build up in my locks. I'm not fixing to have no heavy ass locks on my head. That's what causes locks to be heavy when people use those creamy conditioners. So be careful with that stuff. Question: can heat damage be repaired? What do you think? No. Heat damage cannot be repaired. Once protein bond and cuticles are altered by heat, it cannot be restored to its original state, and therefore making heat damage irreversible. The only treatment is to remove it. Okay? Again, some will say keratin treatments can reverse heat damage. Let me assure you, treatment may slow things down, but once damage is done, it cannot reverse the damage that's caused by the heat. Okay? And again, keratin treatments are not cheap. It's expensive. People think that, oh, I'll just go get it. No, it's not cheap. It's expensive. I had to drink some coffee because, like I said, I took an old lady nap. And again, the only recommendation for clear visual heat damaged hair is to cut it off to avoid further damage to the healthier hair, the healthier undamaged hair that it's still attached to. If you have heat damaged hair and you don't cut it off and you're trying to salvage some length, that damage is going to travel up the shaft of your hair and destroy and mess up the rest of your hair. Okay? So I'm going to tell this quick story. This was a question that one of my clients asked for a third party a few years back. Generally, what happened was hold on. Generally, what happened was she had a friend who has locks, and this is about locks, but this is for any and everybody that's trying to speed up the process of drying their hair. Please don't do this. The guy was washing his locks. It was late, I guess, in the day, and he decided to speed up the process to dry his locks. He used a heat gun. I'm gonna share my screen just to show you what that is, and you're gonna be like, "What the hell?" Okay, so this is a heat gun. This is a heat gun. This thing here, and you see this, that's how hot it gets, right? Now, heat gun heats from, you ready to hear this? Anywhere from 200 to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, right? Blowing hot air. Heat gun is used to peel paint off the wall or to soften floor tiles. Carpenters and contractors uses this tool to do their job. And if you blow it straight on your skin, it can cause second and third degree burns. There ain't no surface burn that this is going to cause. This is going to be either a second degree burn or a third degree burn that this thing can cause. So this person, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, use this thing to dry their locks. Now, a regular basic handheld blow dryer that we use on our hair, the temperature of that is anywhere from 80 degrees to 140 degrees. And if you've ever gone to get your hair roller set in any salon, because it's not just the Dominican salons that do it, it's many hairdressers that uses this method with the hair dryer. That hair dryer gets hot. You see the smoke rising from it and everything. And that's at 140 degrees. So just imagine what 200 degrees, even if he had it set to the lowest setting on a heat gun is 200 degrees. Even if he had it set at that, just imagine how charred his hair became using that on his hair. Unfortunately, the damages of the heat gun were done. She asked me on his behalf, do you think there's any way to repair? No, ma'am. And as she was telling me what this person had done, I was cringing like, oh my God, this person could have severely caused such significant damage, not just to their hair, which they did do, but to their scalp. They could have caused second and or third degree. You do not want that level of burn to your scalp. There's not a lot of flush up there to begin with. Like a third degree burn is when the burn reaches and goes into the meat. It goes beneath the skin and the fat layer, and now it's in the meat. It's damaging, and the meat, the muscle around it is dying because it's been it's literally been cooked. It's literally been cooked, right? Second degree, that you have to kind of let it blister and peel away, and just let a new layer of skin heal over it. Third degree, ain't no skin growing back. You have to take skin grafts from different parts, or to even just cover that, because that's how significant the damage is. So imagine if that happened to a person's head. It ain't worth it to take shortcuts. And this person went extreme using the heat gun to try and dry his locks, express dry his locks. If you did it on your hair, your hair literally would have just set on fire. I don't know how many of y'all know this, but hair easily sets on fire after it reaches a certain temperature. I've seen people use heating tools on their hair and literally singe and burn their damn hair off. Like, y'all have seen the videos with the people. You hear the sizzle. It's funny because the sizzling sound just gets me. So my personal reason as an organic natural hair care provider, why again I don't choose to use bleach, because organic, no chemicals. Now, it don't mean zero chemicals, because to the degree everything is chemicals, including water. It's on the element chart. However, more natural. That's why it's organic. So it's not chemical free. It just means more natural than synthetic, combination of dangerous chemicals that can cause harm. And high heat speaks for itself. Dehydration, dryness, brittleness, making your hair feel like straw. That's most of my lot clients. They air dry. And if I sit you under the dryer, it's usually not for more than maybe half hour, 45 minutes max, if you really need your hair dry, because it might be cold outside or something like that. But during the spring and summer months, I have microfiber towels that does the job of pulling as much moisture out of their hair as possible. I don't want my clients leaving here with their hair bone dry. I need to have a certain level of moisture in their hair. It's dried properly enough to the point where there's no worry of buildup of bacteria or anything like that. But you don't want your hair bone dry. You want it dry so that you don't get sick and your hair follicles are not open and causing you to become ill with bronchitis or pneumonia or something like that. But you do not want your hair to be so dry that when you comb it, you can literally hear your hair breaking and cracking, because it's a desert out there. Don't do it to yourself, right? So I'm going to open this to Q&A. If anybody have a question, put it in the comments. But yeah, using high heat and chemicals like bleach, it's just something I choose not to do. I used to color my hair on a regular basis. I am very fond of gingers, red hair. So my hair was red for years. I used to color my hair red for years because I started graying very early in my life. I was 24 when I started graying. I'm going to be 49 next month. 49. Mm-hmm. Then I'm moving into chapter 50. So the end of my 40s will be next month. And then day one of my 50th year begins. And I'm looking forward to it. So that's why I don't mind sharing my age. But for many years, again, being subscribed to the beauty standard, I covered my gray hair. But what better color to color it with than the one that I really admired? I love red hair. So my locks were red. When I started my lock journey, if you see pictures of me in my lock journey, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. My locks was red for years. I think I went back to my dark color during the pandemic. I was like, okay, I'm letting my gray hair grow in. I don't want a triple ombre. I don't want gray, then black, and then red at the end. And it's still kind of like red at the end because I didn't put like a harsh black color on the ends, just enough to make it darker, so it didn't look obviously okay. This is black and now it's red. It just kind of fades to that reddish color at the ends, which I'm fine with. I just didn't want it to be, all of those things. So, no questions in the comments. So I'm going to close with this: healthy hair boundaries. Healthy hair boundaries. This is why I provided you the information of the significance of what bleach can do and how it can damage your hair, and what heat can do and how it can damage your hair. It's not to discourage, it's not to scare you. It's to provide you with cautious information so that you can proceed forward. And healthy hair boundaries. Now, for myself, as a hairdresser, loctician, stylist, whatever you want to call me, when I'm a hair care provider, I have healthy hair boundaries. When I tell a client I don't bleach hair, and they be like, "Oh, it's okay with me. I'll sign a waiver." It's okay with you, but it's not okay with me because I know the significance of the damages that it can cause, and I don't want personally for myself to play a part in anything if it leads to damage. So, because people will tell you 1 minute, "Oh, I won't hold you responsible. I won't get mad," and then when it happens, it's all your damn fault. It's because of you. You should have told me. And da, 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 da. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Healthy hair boundary. This is why I don't do it. I'm not telling you you can't do it. I just can't do it for you. You can go to somebody else and do it. And then when you come back and it's damaged, and you be like, "Oh, how do I fix this?" I'm not going to be the person that be like, "I told you so," because I gave you the information up front. I'm not going to just say no. This is a time where no is not a complete sentence. I'm telling you why. I'm giving you the information why I choose not to participate. The risks are too high. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I'll stick to it. I'll maintain it. I'll do this." And then they'll fall off and the damage is done. And now they don't know what to do. What do I do to fix this? I even get this from my lock clients because it's this mentality that people think that having locks mean they don't have to do any maintenance on their hair. Having locks is not no maintenance, it's low maintenance. So you still have to keep up with washing your hair, moisturizing your hair, getting your retwist done on a regular basis, and not being negligent with that, letting too much time go by, and during that time you're doing nothing to your hair. And then your hair's all bonded together, and you have massive buildup because you haven't been washing it, and you be like, "Oh, well, I didn't have the time." But during the consultation, you was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna be able to do that." But then life be life, and then they can't do it. So I've seen where a person say they are going to do something, but don't follow through. However, with my lock clients, there are things that could be easily fixed, but I still push for preventive care. Make sure that we don't get to a place where we have to work hard to repair damages that should have never occurred in the first place. When it comes to the damages done by bleach and heat, that's permanent. It cannot be fixed or repaired. It can only be removed. And then we have to build from there moving forward. The risks are too high. For me, I know people, especially my female clients, cannot handle having to cut and remove hair because length is a huge deal for many of them. Again, subscribe to beauty standards, right? Length equals something for many women. Men too. But a lot of times people will do any and everything to salvage length, including holding on to severely damaged hair. Even after I tell them, if you don't cut this off, it's going to damage the healthy hair that you do still have. And then we're going to have to cut everything off. Then what? Well, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. My hair boundaries are what they are. I provide you with the information. So if you do decide to move forward, you went in with your eyes wide open because I gave you the information. But I can't participate in something that can end catastrophically. I can't do that. I can't be a part of something that I've seen happen. I'll be here to support you if you do go ahead and do it anyway. And then, okay, we'll try. I hope that we can. But again, I'm making it very clear. Once damage is done, it's irreversible. Are you willing to do what it takes to get back to a healthy place, which includes cutting and removing that damaged part? Because your hair is your plant. If you notice, there are dying leaves on this plant. If you don't cut away those dying leaves, the whole plant dies. Imagine if we never had autumn and the dead leaves on the trees never fell to the ground. The whole tree will die. There will be no room left for when the spring comes, the rebirth of new, healthier leaves can grow forth. And the same thing with your hair. That's why trimming the hair is important. Trimming is not about getting rid of length. It is about removing dead hair that can cause damage to the healthy roots that are still there. Right? Practice healthy hair boundaries. Don't let nobody force you into doing anything to your hair that you don't want to do. And if they say, well, if you don't want to do this, then I can't do your hair, then leave and find somebody that will, right? But make sure that you know it's your head. Be your own advocate. Set your boundaries. Whether you are the stylist or the client, if you have certain boundaries, adhere to that. Because remember, boundaries are for you. It's not for somebody else to adjust to. So even though it's okay with you that you go platinum blonde, that's fine if that's what you want for yourself. But it's not okay with me to do it to your hair because if something happens, I don't want to be held responsible. Oftentimes people will say they are going to do the work to maintain it and keep it up, but then don't. And then we live in a society now where finger pointing, people don't want to hold themselves accountable for the choices they didn't make. Again, going back to what I said at the very beginning of this Locs Talk Live, where I spoke about individuals that are not speaking up and advocating for themselves, and they wait until they went through the horrible experience, paid their money, and even tipped, and then went and sat in their car and mounted their phone on the little thing and said, oh my God, let me tell you about this horrible experience that I just had with this stylist. But none of it included what they chose not to say, what they chose not to do. And it's always, well, because I needed to get my hair done. So you were willing to risk having somebody who you're having this intensified energy with still handle your hair, which is at your crown chakra, exchanging all of this negative energy because you had to get your hair done, but not enough to get up and leave. It's important to make sure you hold yourself accountable for what you choose to do or hadn't done. A lot of people don't do the research. A lot of people will look simply at, I've had clients or potential clients, I'm not going to say clients, potential clients, because a lot of them are people I didn't even take on, that all they looked at was what my work looked like. And the only other question was, how much does it cost? They weren't interested in knowing anything else. That's not enough information. I took the time to create the website that I created to provide you with more than just what my work looks like and how much it costs. There's a blog that provides you with a lot of information and education, right? A lot of stuff like that. I'm affiliated with a great company for hair products for people with locks. That's also provided there, right? Testimonials of other clients and their experiences. I've had people that decided they didn't want my services because they did not want to do the consultation. I don't need no consultation. I don't know why I need that. I have current clients who felt the same way. And then when they did the consultation, by the end of the consultation, oh yeah, I needed this. Because I didn't know none of it. I needed this. And that's why I make it a requirement to do a consultation before you can even make an appointment with me. I'm not going to make all these rules and say you need to send me $300 to hold your appointment, and it's non-refundable even if I cancel. That's stupid as hell. I've been listening and watching these videos, and yeah, there are some people out here wilding. Like, I understand there's a desperation, but you're doing too damn much, you know. But again, that comes down to lack of professionalism and greed, because those same people won't educate their clients and will require their clients to do most of the work. So what exactly are they paying for? I don't understand. But if you choose to sit there and you choose to pay for it, don't complain to me about it. You know what you chose. At the end of the day, healthy hair boundaries. Do your research. Ask for more than just pictures and how much does it cost. Talk about policies. And if it's something that don't work for you, it don't work for you. Move on. You don't need to turn to social media and be like, oh, let me warn you. Don't go to this person. Listen, if that's not the right fit for you, that's not the right fit for you. It might be for another person. But just concentrate on what's necessary and what you need for yourself. And proceed going forward by making the right decisions for yourself. Making sure that you have all the information that you need before you move forward. Don't go in blind. Okay? Hello. Sure. What's your question, Smelly? Is it Smelly or what is it? I don't. I hope I said it correctly. But what's your question? Well, make sure that what your hair boundaries, you advocate for yourself. Speak up if you're not comfortable, even if when your hair is being handled. If you're not comfortable, make it known. That hurts. It's pulling. Can we ease this? Can we not use that? You get to do that because it's your head, your pain. No question. Just want to say you are doing a good job. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope to see you back here next week. Um, and yeah, so thank you for joining me this week for Locs Talk Live. My name is Tammy. Did I say your name right? Is it Smelly or is it? If it's not, could you kind of break down this syllable so I can say it correctly? Because I don't want to disrespect your name. But thank you. I appreciate you for saying that I'm doing a good job. I appreciate that. Um, but next week we're going to talk more. If you have any suggestions of anything that you want me to talk about, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, and I will add that to my itinerary of things to discuss in future Locs Talks. Um, and yeah, so bleaching, it's your choice, but proceed with caution. Using heat to alter the texture of your hair is your choice, but proceed with caution. Make sure you use the information that I've provided here. Smilai. Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you. So it's like an Eli with a sm in the front. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for clearing that up for me because I don't never want to mispronunciate a person's name. I feel that's disrespectful. So I appreciate you doing that for me. Um, yeah, proceed with caution and always have your healthy hair boundaries because it's your head and you gotta wear it and you're paying for it. So, and that don't mean turn into a jackass and be rude and disrespectful. You don't need to do that because you don't want to do that and create negative energy, especially for a person that's handling your crown chakra. So until next week, thank you for joining me for Locs Talk Live, and I'll see y'all then. Bye.